And before we begin, I just want to thank everybody just for being on the committee and for entrusting me with the chair of the committee. And we're all, I think, one thing I want to state ahead of time is, we're all unpaid volunteers. I know a lot of you do a lot of work for our city, and how much time that takes. And I just really appreciate it. And I hope everybody feels listened to and respected. And if anybody needs anything, please reach out. So I think the first thing we need to do is do our minutes from June. Mary has sent those out. Did anybody have any concerns with those?
Nope.
All right, Mary.
I just wanted to mention that when I did the minutes, there was, I became aware of something that we procedurally did incorrectly, and we can take that up at a later time. But I just wanted to let you know in case somebody else may have noticed it. But
yes, Mary noticed that we didn't take a vote on something that we appeared to have all agreed on, language-wise with the contracts. And I was thinking we could just take that up in the other section of our agenda because we just have a lot of items to get to, and I want to make sure we can get them all. I apologize. I appreciate it so much, Mary, finding that. So I think maybe we'll look for if there are no qualms with the minutes as presented, a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
I think you have to do a roll call vote, Jay.
You have to do a roll call for the minutes. All right.
Because we're virtual, everything has to be a roll call vote.
Outstanding. Mike Falsetti.
Yes, approved.
Mary Moriarty.
yes,
Meg McGrath Smith.
Yes.
Maribel Ortiz.
Yes.
Chris Gauthier.
Yes.
Okay, and I think we have 3 members absent. Francesca, Helene, and Lauren were not able to make it. All right, so item number 2 is we wanted to welcome Daniel Koff to our meeting. Thank you, Daniel, for coming again to the meeting to present your proposal for FY25 to remain as our finance guy, as I call you. I'm not sure if you have if you've assigned a title yet. Did you want to present any information to the committee, Daniel? Any specifics or?
I didn't I sent you all the proposal. I'm not sure if that was shared with the committee prior to this meeting at all. No. Okay. I can try to dig that.
I can try to pull it up, but I have to open my email.
Yeah, we can share. We can get that shared. The broad points of it, Daniel, I think, are that it's essentially similar to the same proposal as last year. Correct? Has there been any substantial changes?
Yeah. So, it is. I would say the next step in the work that we started last year to try to. Last year we got all of your financial records on a single tracking sheet. So invoices that Amy logs are then logged on your total expenses. And that has helped us create a more comprehensive record of all your invoices and expenses to date. So I've been working with Amy to kind of give her control over that financial tracking system. She's doing great with that. There is some work to transition from one fiscal year to the next. We kind of archive the last fiscal year, so we have a set data point, and then we create a new tracking sheet for the next fiscal year. The next step that we're going to be working on this next year is to try and work with with Tanya, who is your auditor, I believe, or Auditor, yeah, you don't have a controller's office. To try and submit reports, the CP2 reports to the state, which apparently the city has not been doing. These are required, these are reports that are required from each community to provide to DOR, the Department of Revenue, a record of all of your income and expenses. Some of the income is really, or you can estimate every year you estimate your local surcharge revenue and your state match. The city also receives some revenue from interest on the loans, interest on your bank account, and other there are a couple other areas as well. So that is logged on the CP2. We really need the auditor's assistance with that. She's been providing records to us. And then it also lists your expenses by category. So open space and recreation, affordable housing, and general reserve. And then asks for your fund balance and encumbrances, how much you've awarded to projects that you're trying to hold. So apparently the auditor hasn't been, our hope last year was that we could work with her and provide her with the information that we have so she could submit these reports. And through those conversations, she said, well, why don't you just provide me the numbers? And kind of surprised by that. It wasn't in our scope of work to do that kind of reconciliation. I devised a strategy last year to do that, which I can go into in detail if you want. But it's, I guess one thing I will caution is my strategy is to kind of pretend like you now have separate accounts for open space for all of your account, your open space and recreation, affordable housing, historic preservation, and then you have your general reserve fund balance. So you've now set up these different accounts. Some part of the work I worked with you all last year to do. So it's much cleaner going forward to say how much you've spent out of your open space and recreation account versus affordable housing versus fund balance. So it'll make these reports a lot easier going forward.
Yes. Yes, I can jump in. Those reports essentially were an issue that we needed to address. And I was able to speak with Tanya last week about those. It was a productive conversation. It feels like something we'll be able to address. Mostly with the auditor's office. I think they're able to generate different reports that might make that a lot easier for us. I did follow up with her on Monday. She's on vacation this week, so I wasn't able to get a kind of I was hoping to get some more of an action item information, but yeah, I think, it's certainly a concern. And I think the auditor was unsure about it. I think something we need to remember is the CPA is a brand new thing. So, our city departments aren't fully uploaded on the processes. So I think we can work with the auditor in the next month or so. I think she put a timeline of September of hoping to address the issue. And I think perhaps we can get in touch, Daniel, specifically about that and loop in the committee. I just want to acknowledge Michael had raised his hand. Michael.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is for you and/or Dan. To either one of your knowledge, is what you're referring to as those required reports by the state. I didn't quite get the acronym you used, Dan. It's the report that the state demands. I take it of the city of Holyoke. I don't know what I couldn't recall. I missed how you pronounced that. It was, I guess, the report on how we spend our money to the state. What is that called?
It's called the CP2.
Okay, fine. To your knowledge, is it a state law that the CP2 has to be produced and is required by the city of Holyoke? Or does it have to be produced and required to submit to the state from our committee? who has the ultimate responsibility of making sure that CP2 arrives on the desk of the state treasurer's office, if you will? Whose responsibility is that?
The
And
auditor.
have we ever done this before? Are we behind? I mean, like forever?
These reports were submitted in 2018 and 2019. I believe it's the auditor's responsibility to do this.
The city
Typically-
auditor's responsibility. Is that correct?
Yeah, it should not necessarily be on you.
So it's by definition, it's not a state law that requires our committee to produce this for the state of Massachusetts. It's a city of Hoyoke's auditor that's required to produce this, and they're required to talk to us, and we help them, and they file it. And apparently they haven't filed it since what, 2019? Is that what you're saying?
As
Correct.
far as we know, yes. And I think, in speaking with Tanya as well, the auditor, I think we're gonna, she seemed to be inclined to try to address the issue in short order and move forward. I think it's certainly not ideal for us. And I appreciate, Daniel, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, in addition to being our finance person, is also the administrator of is it the town of Taunton, city of Taunton?
City of Malden.
Malden, I apologize, Malden. So he's very well versed on the CPA as well. So these are the types of things that he's able to find. Amy, you had your hand raised?
Oh, well, I wanted to mention in answer to Michael's question that in the past, though, the auditor would show me what they were submitting. So we would kind of go over, there was a little, I would, look at it too, but yeah, it ultimately comes down to something they're supposed to submit. But I also just wondered if you wanted me to share Daniel's proposal, because I was able to pull that up.
Yes, please, Bob. Can I just acknowledge Michael first? Because I want to
Okay, before we go to that topic,
Meg, I got you too.
before we go to that topic, I was kind of upset.
Yep.
Has the city threatened, does this present the city of Holyoke's finances in a bad light? Are there penalties or are there assessments by the state for our lack of, not our lack, the city of Holyoke's lack of producing the CP2 requirement by the state? Is the city suffering for this? Or do they know they're being fined, or are we suffering in some way as a result of this? Can you that, Jay or Dan?
Yeah, I'd categorize it more as an oversight. I think, in the past, I think other towns have been pushed into requiring like a heavier audit. Daniel, is that correct, for not having been on top of other reports? So, it's a significant thing for sure, but we're hopeful, like I said, that the auditor is able to do a bulk of the work and we'll be able to kind of
Better.
I hope, yeah, that's the hope. And Meg?
So this has been something that's been going on for a really long time. And so I guess my question is, to what extent do we continue trying to handle it internally? Like when do I put an order into council that asks the auditor to report on why the CP2 forms aren't completed?
Yeah.
Like that's what sort of what I want to know is, like, where's that? Are we there? It's been a long time. We've been asking.
I would ask, perhaps we could do that in a month. I think
Okay.
Having just started as chair and having reached out to Tanya and having had a productive conversation, I'd like to give it a little bit of time to try to bring it in without such a move. And then I wouldn't be opposed to it in the future if we're not, if we're exactly where we are in 1 month, I'll be completely on board with that. I think I just like to give it a little bit of time. It's very complex as well. This is the first meeting as chair for me. So it's a lot to kind of undertake. And, Amy and I have discussed it. Daniel and I, we had a meeting about it. I've reached out to the auditor and, we wanted to bring it forward to the committee and have a good discussion about it. But, it's something that I think Tanya in our conversation seemed, more inclined to take care of. And she even put a date on it of September for me. So I'd like to give it that and try to work with her in good faith on that. If it's the committee's will, certainly, if we feel otherwise, we can move forward. Meg, did I cut you off?
I like that timeline, right? And you can make clear to the auditor that if this isn't done in September, then in October, we can put it as an item to council. I just don't want this to linger, and it has been lingering for a long time. And I understand that so many city employees are overworked, they have so much on their plates, there's a lot of priorities. But I feel like we're hitting the point where we've been asking for so many years for this. We have to get this done. And so maybe a very clear timeline. I love that you've set that with a little bit of, and this is what happens if you don't meet that timeline. We'll shift that to a priority.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chris?
I guess I just kind of wanted verification with Amy. I mean, isn't this stuff we already have, so to say, as a database, something ready to roll? Your reports that are supplied? Just verify. I'm just trying to, you know,
Answer.
understand the whole thing.
I can answer that if you want me to.
Yeah, please, Amy.
Well, it is quite complicated because it's hard to explain it quickly, but basically, and I think Daniel touched upon it, is that initially when CPA began in Holyoke, what we should have had was separate accounts through the city munis system for each of the categories. And then it would be easier to track what the expenditures were for each fiscal year in each category, including admin. But that wasn't done. It was all one account. And so, yeah. So now we do have these different accounts. So it's kind of hard. It's like going backwards and trying to figure what goes where. So it's complicated.
It is. My first impression, just to give some context, was, you know, why can't we just, you know, look at our sheets and fill in the numbers? And it's just so much more complicated to that.
Yeah, the reason I'm sorry.
It is. That was what I was thinking too. And then as I dug into it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is really a big one. But like I said, having spoken with Tanya, I'd like to give her that 1 month to, you know, in good faith, to try to work it out appropriately. I think, you know, it's something I'm concerned about. I don't know if I'd say, I might say it's my number one concern for the committee. So, you know, and I want to apologize as well, just for not looping everyone in on that in more detail. I feel like, upon reflection, I wish I had shared more. So I apologize for that. And, you know, moving forward, I can definitely keep everybody posted. I saw one hand raised. Was it Michael?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is for through you to Amy. Amy, to your knowledge, are we wanting in some way, shape, or form of giving the city of Holyoke information? Are we the problem that they're not processing their paperwork as they can? Or do we need an extra, I don't know, bit of something, of facts or figures? Are they? It's time to. I know this is a guesswork. Are we giving them everything they need? So the existing auditor or the previous auditors could have done this, or are we at fault in some way, shape, or form and not giving them enough information to the best of your knowledge?
I don't see us as at fault. I think it's a complicated thing where there was a big learning curve for the city as a whole and for the auditor's department to understand how to set things up for CPA. And, you know, it's great that we have Daniel to help and us figure this out and figure out how to track expenditures by fiscal year. So it's a matter of working together. You know, I mean, she does need our help because of the situation.
Yeah, if I could say,
Daniel has more to say on it. I don't know.
Well, I think us having set up the separate accounts is that action. I think, you know, I wouldn't describe it as a fault situation as much as like the way we're doing things now will make things much easier from them moving forward. And I think there was some, you know, uncertainty about responsibility, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure, but that's how I would describe it. I think essentially the solution's already been enacted, and now we just need to kind of backtrack and clean up a little bit that we've missed, which I hope we can. I know that we, you know, with Daniel, I have so much confidence. You know, I just really it's more of a question of what's appropriate for Daniel to have to do, or how much he needs to be involved. That's kind of where we're you know, figuring out this issue. So I'm sorry, Mary, did you have your hand up as well?
Well, I did, but it's kind of pointless. Basically, I wanted to say there's that everyone's suggestions tonight have been fantastic. I think we've been aware for some time of this problem, and I think it sounds like it's going to be solved.
I hope so. And I hope we can sort of move forward on that, as the primary purpose of this agenda item really was to kind of lock in Daniels and take a vote on Daniel's proposal so we could have him for our FY25. Amy, you said you were ready. If everybody's all right on this part of the topic of moving it forward to next meeting. I'm not sure we need to take a vote as we're not really doing anything, but if could we take a look at Daniel's proposal?
Okay, I thought I was opening it, but now I don't see it there. Let me just try opening it. Oh, hold on a second here. I do have it. Okay. And somebody is just joining the Zoom, I think. So
Wayne.
Okay.
Wayne is with us.
All right. So let me see if I can just share that now. Okay. So can you all see this? Is everybody seeing this proposal here?
Well, what are we looking at? Is this his existing contract or is this a new contract?
This is the new one that Daniel is here for today to show the different areas that it mentions work with city auditor, treasurer, and auditor on reconciling CPC and the city's records of the CPA fund, and estimate of hours. And it's, $80 an hour, the cost for each area. And so this is the total amount that would be encumbered. He may not use all of that, but that's, it's a projection.
I think last year
What are we comparing this to? What's last year's?
Very similar.
Well, I mean, specifically in dollar amount, you're telling us that 24 and 25 is going to be $6,000. What was last year?
It was around 4,000, Michael. It was he had, I believe, put in a proposal for 6,000. Was that correct, Daniel? Something like that, very close to 6,000, and ended up utilizing about 4 of that, if memory serves me correct from that the budget.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, forgive me for interrupting again.
Oh, no problem.
That's fine. That's fine, and I'm glad we saved you were $2,000 less.
Yep.
But we got to remember, there's a vote coming up in November,
Yep.
and we don't know what the dollar amount we're going to be able to handle. And if our admin money is going to have to take a hit like everything else, we've got to be very cautious on what we sign up for, because we may, I hate to be doom and gloom, but what if this vote in November doesn't go our way and we get severely cut? Are we going to have the money to pay Daniel? I mean,
Yep.
That's what it amounts to.
Yeah, I think I think the vote will affect us for the following year, if I understand correctly. It'll be FY26 that it would go into effect. So I think that we feel comfortable with the budget this year remaining the same. And I think Daniel's always done a great job as well. Just noting that he came in under budget last year. He's done a great job of just doing what he needs to do and not maxing out his contract just because he can. I think he's doing a nice job keeping expenses down for us and understands that our committee is working within a tight budget. So the other thing too is just as a matter of practicality is that Daniel's understands all of our finances and all of the issues that we face currently. So the value of that to me is tremendous. So Mike, did you have another question?
To your knowledge, either Mr. Chairman, yourself or Amy, do you know how much is left in the admin money or proposed will be left in the admin money for 24, for 23 and 24? And do you know what our current reserve is right now, if we have any in reserve? Does anybody know that? In other words, the admin money for last year, is there anything left over?
Yeah, there's always leftover amounts, and I would have to pull up the exact numbers, but I know that we've had leftover.
Just a
amount.
ballpark.
Ballpark, maybe like 9,000 left over that carried over.
Okay, no, that's fine. So you
It
approximately,
carries over to the general fund, I believe, though, not, it doesn't carry over into admin, just to clarify.
okay, by definition, do you know if there's any balance, any reserves in the admin budget only, just the admin budget? Do you have any
From
inkling?
last year?
Oh, yes, from last year, excuse me.
Yeah, I think we, you know, we had an admin budget of 35,000, and I want to
That's
say,
right. Mhm.
I want to say we spent, like, what was it 27, something like
And we
that?
did have over 10,000 left over for the total, which includes my salary, operating supplies. all
Right.
this.
So of our whole budget, we had 35,000, and we ended up with about 9,000 remaining. So we have a little bit of a buffer there for this year. You know, the ballot question would absolutely change this conversation next year, but for this year, I feel you know, essentially we're going to be level funded for this component of our admin budget.
To your knowledge, Mr. Chairman, and again, I'm sorry for taking up all the committee's time. Do you have any a ballpark figure, either you or Amy? How much do we have as a committee left over in reserves for all things? Do we have a reserve that this is our budget from last year, and this is what, not just admin, but the whole shooting match, everything? Do you have an idea of, do you have any idea how much we have in our pockets at the moment?
I don't.
That's fine.
I don't, Michael, but I actually have that information in a spreadsheet, so I can find that for you and get it to you this week if you'd like, and we can just for communication purposes.
Yeah, if you could share that with the admin budget and the general budget, and share with all the committee members, and saying, this is what we've got going forward to what, December 31st, January 1st, the new budgets take over. Just so we can all know where we stand financially, both for the admin budget and for the general budget.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, as I've dug in and as chair and gotten a hold of some of these spreadsheets, there's a lot of great information. You can pour over those spreadsheets and parse out a lot of great data, and I'll be happy to share that. I'll be happy to share that with the committee. I'd be interested if there, Mary?
For a topic for another time, do we need a treasurer, a person that once a month reports this stuff? This comes up frequently, and we don't have this information at our fingertips. Anyway, let's bring it up another time.
I can share screen right now to show you the spreadsheet for admin.
I'd be interested. I'd love to, Amy. I just don't. I'm worried about time because we have a number of things going on, and I will promise to share those spreadsheets because it's very informative of what the committee does. If that's all right with the committee, I would be interested in a motion to accept Daniel's proposal as our financial person for 2025, if anyone might be interested.
So moved. I just have to hope we got the money to pay him.
I feel confident that we do. Is there a second?
Second, I second.
All right. On the motion, I'm just going to take a roll call. Michael Falsetti,
Yes.
Mary Moriarty.
Can I just ask for clarity? This is to accept Daniel Koff's proposal for the coming year, correct?
Yes, if that's
Thank you. Okay,
committee's-
thank you. Then my answer is yes.
Yep. Meg McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Maribel Ortiz,
Yes.
Chris Gothier.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes with 3 absent members. So thank you for that, Daniel. We'll be in touch. I'm going to touch base with the auditor as soon as she's back from vacation, and you'll be my next call right after that. And the committee will be looped in on these CP2 forms. I can keep everybody posted on that, and we'll see how we do.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jay. It has been a pleasure working with you so far. I'll be in your area tomorrow, driving up to Chicopee to see my family. So I'll see you from afar. Happy to pop in if you want to meet tomorrow. But thanks. I look forward to working with you next year.
Appreciate you, Daniel. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
All righty. So item 3 on our agenda, which I have on my cell phone right here, is Megan is here from Wistariahurst, Megan Seiler, who I often refer to as Megan W for some reason because of, I think, Wistariahurst. But she's here to talk about, she had from the engineering, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, Megan, the engineering chimney project had some remaining funds. She was very efficient with those funds and got some work done. And she's hopeful to get some further work done that's very similar to the scope of work that's outlined, but slightly different, and different enough that we felt we wanted to, of course, bring it to the committee. And then perhaps if it's the committee's will to support the change, to then move that to the city council to seek their approval on it. I don't know if Meg, Councilor McGrath, I might say, would you like to speak on the topic a bit, since you probably understand it better than I do? Not probably, definitely do.
So just in the process that we followed in the past is the committee here internally agrees to, approve the scope of work, and then we just have to share that to council. It's a really simple process. In general, they're very much in support of municipal projects, and I don't foresee any issues. I will say this is exactly though why we started to draft that shift in the language for contracts this time. So hopefully this won't happen in the future, and we internally, for our FY24 candidates, grantees forward, we'll just internally decide to approve a scope of change, a scope change versus having to go to council, just because it slows the entire process down.
Right. Thank you so much, Meg, for that. So, yeah, essentially it's an issue that that's already been addressed. I think the committee had some good foresight. The basic gist of it is we're giving the contract a little more wiggle room. So the committee, if the committee decides, we're empowered to make this decision. We're not granting any power to anyone else. We're deciding still, but it allows us to solely decide if there's a change in scope of work to move projects along, because as one little snag can result in 600 emails and 4 months of delays. So if it's all right with the committee, I'd like to just welcome Megan to talk a little bit about this. And I don't know if you wanted to share some photos or any other information, Megan.
Sure. Let me see if I can get my screen to share. I don't know if I have that ability. I sent a PDF.
I did, yeah. Amy, would you mind bringing that up? I actually had forwarded it this afternoon. I can actually try to screen share. I don't know how to screen share. I
did give you co-hosting privileges, Megan, but
yeah, it's not showing up on my end. So it's I think it's my computer.
Okay, I do see the email, so I could open that email and then share screen on my end.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. So this was to do the engineering survey of the property because we knew there were going to be some foundation issues and other issues around the house, and to restore this bedroom right here and the chimney that was causing the major water damage in this room. So the approximate for this restoration would be about $10,000. That's already been approved and allocated by everyone here. But because we came in so under budget on our engineering survey, thanks to the fact that we already had a lot of technicals on another engineering survey that we had done previously. So they were able to work off of that document. It saved us a ton of money, which was fantastic. So now what we're hoping is to do some other water damage, try to rectify some of that. And what's great about these projects is they're really, really visible and they're in very public spaces. So they're going to have a really great impact. So if you want to scroll down for me, Amy. So this is right when you walk in, this is the marble lobby ceiling. This happened because of a bathroom leak. It's one of the reasons we don't have bathrooms on the second or third floor. And so you walk into the museum and you see this flecking paint and this damage. And it's not the best entrance. So that approximately $2,500. What's great about this is we don't have to paint the entire ceiling. We can do just the perimeter of the molding work that you see. Helps keep the cost down. And there's no molding that needs to be redone or refinished. So it's a little bit of an easier project. If you could scroll down to the next one. This is the Great Hall. So again, this is right as you enter, you go to the right, there's the grand staircase, there's a really beautiful fireplace. This was damage from a leaking chimney previously. So as you can see, there's a little bit of discoloration. It's really bright white where the unprofessional repair was done, and there's damage to the molding. So this would be a little bit more of an expensive project, approximately $10,000, because you have to repair all of this and then repaint the entire ceiling. And then if you scroll down, so these are just some close-ups. And this year, we unfortunately had a windstorm that knocked off one of our slate shingles, which caused water damage to come into the music room. So this is a small section of the music room, but as you can see, some of that really beautiful detail work has been damaged. We'd love to get that fixed up. And again, these are rough estimates. I talked to a couple of people, but without them coming on site, doing a full appraisal and bid, they weren't comfortable giving me exact numbers. So if you could scroll down. And this is on the second floor. This is the silk room. Again, most of these leaks are really, really old, and they're from either damages on the roof or damages from a chimney. And so there's lots of water damage in this room on the wallpaper. Otherwise, it's in pretty good shape. There's a couple of cracks from settling that they could probably repair as well. But what would be great is, again, these are really highly visible projects. And if we could allocate, instead of having one project like Stuart's bedroom, we could probably get a better firm out and better bids if we had a bigger scope of work for them to do. So my hope is that you like the idea of expanding the scope of work to include these, since we have some remaining funds that we could work with. And if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Megan.
Oh, Mr.
Thank you for the photographs. I feel like that makes very clear the work that you're asking us to approve. And I'm wondering, just to have it on the record, so these things were caused generally by leaks at some time. How confident are you that the leaks that have caused these things have been fully resolved so that it wouldn't be fixed and then immediately have more damage?
So we just had, so for the most recent leak that I know, that we just had Mahan Roofing out to replace the slate that had shifted. There's no guarantee that there won't be another storm and another slate won't shift and we get damage somewhere else. That's just sort of the, just how it goes. The other ones, like the bathroom water damage that had been done, that we haven't had bathrooms on the second or third floor in like 20 years. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. The chimney leak has been there for over 16 years because Penny remembered it being there when she started 16 years ago. And the same thing with the bedroom wallpaper, that's been there since before Penny started, which was over 16 years ago. So if these were active, we'd still be seeing ongoing damage, but they've been that way for quite a while now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Mr. Chairman, Megan, are just to get me up to speed, is the leaks, are they fixed? Is the roof fixed?
Yeah, I just answered that one. That was just done this month. Mahan came out and reattached the slate that needed to be replaced. And again, the other leaks are incredibly old, and they are not active.
Repaired?
Yes.
Are the leaks repaired?
I mean, to our knowledge, yes. I mean, something could always pop up, but I mean, they've been there for over 16 years. So what damage?
As we speak, they've been repaired.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all I want to know. I came up with $27,500 for everything. Yep. Is that what you came up with?
Yes.
Okay, so you've got $59,000 unspent, and you're asking us to approve $28,000 for practical purposes to do these other various rooms that have suffered from the leaks from previous years. That's correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'd just like to say, one of the things that I think an approach for bidding this, that would be a smart way to go about it, is to bid the room for Stuart's bedroom, because that's really the top priority, is getting that out to bid, and then have bid alternates for each additional project. So in case something does come in a little too high, we don't have to go forward with that project, but we can do it piece by piece and say, okay, everything came in under what we had estimated, so we can do all of it. Or if some things come in a little bit higher, then we can say, all right, well, this one's not going to get done this time because we only have this amount of funds. So I'm trying to, I want to be as smart as I can because we don't know what things are going to cost until the bids come in. So I wanted to make sure we had enough wiggle room that I didn't have to come back here and be like, well, you know, I need more money because I just want to work with the budget that's remaining.
All right. Any other questions or concerns for Megan? Chris?
Meg, just being a homeowner, checking the roof every year, you know, and all the chimneys, is that something that's done? How often, or has it been done, or is it just when there's actually an issue that arises?
So we actually had a lot of roof work done a year ago with Mahan with CDBG money. So we had about $10,000 to do. So they went through and checked the roof and reheated everything. They gave us sort of a budget of what we would need. So this was kind of a freak accident because we had just had the work done on the roof. But it was one of the windstorms that came through that must have knocked it loose. And then we have a monthly walkthrough where I check, you know, especially on the third floor, because that's usually where you'll see the most active leaks. So we walk around and we see if any of them have expanded, if we see any dust collecting on the floor from any current leaks. So we do our best to inspect, and we know that there's going to be further chimney work that needs to be done. But currently we're at a decent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. I think we lost Michael for a moment here. Maybe he's having some technical difficulties. Were there any other questions or concerns relating to Megan's project?
Nope.
Is there any proposals relating to Megan's project?
I think Amy had her hand up.
Amy, please.
Yeah, I just looked at the records, and for this project, I see about 34,000 remaining in the award. So that's what I'm puzzled by right now.
So I have that it was 7,900 for the survey that we paid, and then 27,950 for the chimney, which were the two things that have moved forward for this grant so far.
Yeah, I think there's maybe some POs that haven't been fully expended. Is that?
Well,
that
actually, I'm looking, I mean, I can share my screen, but I don't know if we want to take up time for that, but I do see, okay, I see 3,000, yeah, that for the Jablonski, 3,360 remaining in that PO, but most of the 13,890.
That's not this grant. That's a different
Oh,
grant.
sorry, no, I was looking at the correct one, but I then moved to the other. Okay, so I see that the total expended was 60,521 because 7,900 to tie and bond, and then 27,950. All right, maybe there's something wrong in my records here. I have to look at it again.
Perhaps. I think also I think Megan's proposal is far under the 59 as well. And I think it's also under, even if, you know, in the most extreme circumstance, it's still underneath the amount that she would have. So I think she's asking for, what was the number? $28,000.
Yes.
To move.
28?
I'm sorry, did somebody have something?
Did you say that that's the amount being asked for, 28,000?
Is that what it is, Megan? The total?
I think all the work comes to about 28,000, and that's not any additional funds that I need. It's just to expand the scope of work because we were so under budget on the engineering survey.
That's right. That's right. So
Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it makes it a little easier too, because we're not really allocating or reallocating or really going into budget stuff as much as we're just taking a vote to broaden the scope of work, and then following up and getting the nod from city council. So that way Megan can operate within her remaining budget to address those items, those very similar items. Mary?
Yeah, I didn't have my hand raised, but
Oh, sorry.
now I do.
Okay.
No, I do. I just want to make a motion to approve expanding the scope of work for the Wistariahurst proposal. And it's a specific proposal. Should they have two out? Which one is it? I don't know. for the sake of the motion, which proposal is it?
It would be the
Megan
one that,
Seiler?
the one that she just shared, the proposal that was just shared with the committee is the work that,
Okay.
that would be done.
Hearings.
Okay, so I propose that we expand the scope of work to include, the additional repair that came about due to the same problem that was there in the first place with the chimneys and the roof.
Mhm. Second,
Second, do we feel good about that? Does that cover us? Meg, do you feel good about that? Meg McGrath Smith? Yeah, okay. Well then, if the committee feels good about it, I wish Michael were here. I don't like to move this forward without him, but we do need to move it forward. So I'm going to take a roll call. Mary,
Yes.
Meg,
Yes.
Maribel,
Yes.
Chris,
yes.
and then myself, yes. And I should also record, I don't think I've officially voted. I vote yes on all of our previous votes also. Mary, I don't think I actually voted technically. Just
Okay,
we'll have to
that's
back.
fine.
Sorry. Well, bear with me for the first meeting. So thank you, Megan. So Meg Seiler, so we'll be in touch within the, hopefully soon. Meg and I will figure out what we're going to do with the council. She's on that one, and we'll let you know as soon as we have some more info for you. And we appreciate your good work. And I should note while Megan's here that she and I had a great meeting. I was able to go to Wistariahurst, and we talked about just things that she's working on and things that are going on at Wistariahurst. And I'm just really excited for it. I think it's a great spot, and I promise I will make it to a Wisty Wednesday soon. But it rains like almost every time, or it's like 106 degrees. So it's like if we get a nice day, I promise I'll be there.
Last week we had ground hornets, so we had to pull it inside at the last minute because we didn't want kids getting stung by ground hornets.
Yeah, I
so
saw that.
It's been a roller coaster, but we also hope that the CPC will come and do like a talk or a presentation on the work that's been done at Wistariahurst, or throw something. We have a TV and internet in our house now, so we can do a video or something. So
Wi-Fi now, the whole place.
Yes.
Wonderful. So thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And like I said, we'll Meg and I we'll follow up with you as soon as we have some more info for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much. If it's all right with the committee, I'd like to propose that we take agenda item 6C up out of respect for our partner Wayne, who has come to join us for a discussion on the topic. I suppose we could take a vote on that if everybody would like, or we could just kind of acknowledge that we're okay with that and move forward. Is everybody comfortable with that? Wayne's joined us not in his role as somebody who is using CPA funds, but is just from his personal experience as somebody who has something to contribute to our conversation as a committee. So we appreciate your time, your personal time here, Wayne. And the topic is basically how we can handle or how we might handle moving forward on a regular basis, cemeteries, monuments, places of remembrance. It seems to be a topic where there's some divergence in the committee. And, I just think Wayne struck me as somebody who had some experience. Obviously, he's doing the restorations for the veterans' graves, which is a great project. And I just wanted to kind of get the committee's views on that. I don't know if anyone had wanted to say anything about the topic, and then we can speak with Wayne. All right. Hearing.
Well, I'll just step in and say that the discussion was around the business of putting some kind of sign or acknowledgement of the CPA in regards to funding any restoration projects. And some of us, well, everybody thought there should be respect in regards to places of remembrance, but some of us thought that perhaps there should be some form of notice. And so that's where we began.
Right. That's a great way of describing it. Essentially it's, how do we, or should we respectfully represent, the taxpayers' contribution to different projects while being respectful. So, Wayne, what do you
Okay,
think about this?
well, we had a discussion between Amy and you and me, basically about the contract and what I was looking at for doing the plaque at the cemetery. I went to Forestdale and was talking to them about that and asking them what they thought, because it was discussed about putting a plaque on the fence or somewhere in the cemetery. They did not really wish to do that. What they were asking was that we discussed what we could do, and we came up with based on the way the contract is worded and everything else with you guys. We looked at it and we came up with a plaque, an 8x10 plaque that has the CPA's logo, and specifying that funds were expended to help do it. It's an 8x10 plaque. It's a wooden frame with a bronze plaque on it, or a brass plaque that's engraved with the black lettering, and it's going in their main office. That way, anybody that comes into the office to purchase a site or to do work with this main cemetery or the main people, they'll get to see it, that you guys have provided funds to help do that. The other thing that we talked about was basically the temporary signage of how I don't have any problem. We discussed that on getting that you guys were providing signage to put out while we're doing the work. I think that's a great idea. You see us out there in the middle of the cemetery cleaning headstones. It's nice to know why we're there. Seeing somebody comes out and sees us cleaning their relative's headstone, it's nice to know what's going on. I don't know about cost or anything. I could work with you going through. I know what I did in my front yard. I went to Amazon and got plastic signs made that were like a 12x18 with the wire frame that you plug into the ground for temporary signage. And I bought 4 of those for about $50 to $60. And I had it worded out the way I wanted it worded. So you could look at that. But those are my suggestions. So far, if I get over, based on chapter 115, if I need your funds, when I get into going into other, based off of chapter 115 as the Veterans Graves Officer and taking care of any veterans graves within the city of Holyoke, is looking at how to let, and if I use your funds, how to let them know. I've talked to St. Jerome. Their Springfield diocese is out of South Hadley, is where their office is. They have a small workers office at the cemetery, but all their business is done out of the South Hadley office. They're also willing to put up a plaque if we get to that point in the future. Right now, we're working with Forestdale on Elmwood.
Wonderful. Thank you. So just to summarize, so what Wayne's talking about is putting up a plaque at the office, the Forestdale office, which would serve as the sign, rather than putting a sign in a cemetery, because it seemed, something that some folks were uncomfortable with, and I think I mostly agree. And then also, while the work is being done, he displays a temporary banner, which I have for you, Wayne, and I will deliver to you this week. I promise. Okay. Probably Saturday, if that's all right with you. I'll reach out to you. Display a temporary CPA banner while the work's being done. So Wayne will be out, and his great volunteers will be out doing their good work. And if anyone happens upon them, they'll see the sign. And we just felt that was a sort of a respectful way to you know, represent the, like I said, the taxpayers' contribution to this work, but while being respectful of what's being done. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, Wayne is doing something, you know, that commands a high level of attention and respect, and you know, I think that this achieves this.
Just
So
to say, on the side of it, we did a training in June with Historic Gravestone Services, Tamara Conde. She, which was not underneath the CPA, it's outside, so we had to pay for it through the Veteran Services. It's okay. I have pictures of broken headstones that we've repaired. We had some chipped headstones, and the cleaning and repositioning of some World War II and Civil War headstones, and what it looked like before and after. I will get those to you guys. I apologize for not having a presentation here tonight to show you, but it was it really, if I could say it, being one of my first times, we cleaned up on a Saturday. We did our training on Saturday, and Monday I took pictures. It's amazing what a little solution and water and a scrub brush can do for you. It was amazing. I would like to get the pictures out so people can see what it's done. We started purchasing the supplies through the CPA, which is what we were looking for. Most of that is going to be delivered in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be setting up appointments.
Can anybody hear me?
Saturday.
yep.
Oh.
That's wonderful, Wayne. Michael, welcome.
Yes.
Back. Welcome back. We just want to just to update, we've taken item 6C.
I can't hear you.
No audio. We can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Ah, shit.
Okay.
How about turn on, can somebody type into him, go turn on his television so that he could hear and see the thing on TV?
Yeah, I just typed him a message to ask him if his sound is up. I hope he'll see it.
Michael? Nothing.
Oh.
Technical difficulties. So we'll work on that, but we appreciate that, Wayne. You know, it's you know, you mentioned, you know, little soap and water, but it's also a lot of effort on your part, and I think you know, it's a really great project, and I'm proud to talk about it as a member of the CPA, so I thank you for that. I'm not sure, do we need to really take any action?
Amy, I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I think we're all pretty happy with that. I don't know. I think we have to decide these signage things individually on almost every contract. It's just, there's just so many variables.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Rather than a broader rule. That's what I was sort of leaning on, is like, should we continue to take them one by one, or should we, you know, try to have a conversation about a broader proposal? But I think, you know, listening to Wayne, I think I'm more inclined to agree with you, Mary. I think that does seem, you know, I don't know if there's a one size fits all. I think we're just going to have some nuance to it, and, you know, like I say, use our brains, you know what I mean? So it's
when they fill out the application, it is explained to everyone that they must do something about signage. And so this conversation does come up. So I guess for every contract, we're going to have to decide separately.
And I suppose also, the more that we do them, the more, hopefully, the better we'll get at them. I mean, I think this solution for Wayne's project was outstanding. I think it really is something that maybe we can replicate in the future as well. Michael?
No, we can't hear him.
Still no audio, Michael.
Before we had audio.
He's
but
just
oh,
muted.
you know what? It says that you're muted there. Unmute.
Sorry. I was asking him to unmute, and then I think we clicked at the same time. He can hear everybody now, though, he told me.
Oh, good.
Can someone
Mike,
unmute
you're just
him?
muted. Just click on mute.
Go to
I can't
unmute
see
on your
him.
screen.
I can't do it, but oh, there.
There you go.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yep.
Yay, you're back.
Unbelievable.
Technical difficulty.
Mr. Chairman, what I was asking was what was the conclusion that you arrived at?
Regarding Wayne's situation?
Yes.
Well, we haven't, in fact, we just had a discussion, and what was discussed was that Wayne would like to put up a plaque in the Forestdale office and then display a temporary banner while he's conducting the work. So when he and his volunteers are out in the cemetery executing their good work, he'll have the temporary banner to display, but then take it with them when they leave. So we're not leaving our banners waving in a cemetery, but if folks happen upon them, I mean, it is really, I've seen a couple pictures. It's really a nice thing. So I think, it was a good solution to that
Mhm.
uncertainty.
Good idea. Good idea.
Absolutely. Meg?
Yeah, when I talked to the Forestdale Cemetery, they were more than happy to have the temporary banner out there on the days they were doing work because they want people to know that the stones are being restored. And I think the idea of having a plaque in the office is a good solution. And Wayne, just so you know, I talked to Trent Lavakis and Quinn S from the Sun and from the Reminder, and they
Oh.
should be reaching out to you so that they
Okay.
can do a story about the veterans' grave restoration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not
good
a
idea.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a really cool project, and I want people to know about it. And the banner is one of those things, right? But we also need to get the word out in other ways too.
My project is on the veteran side, and my workers that were out there volunteering, we had a couple that when I put it out on the public or I advertised it, anybody was available to come and learn how to clean their own relatives' headstones if they wanted to. We had about 12, 15 people there to do the training. And even the guys that were there for just the veterans, they were looking at all the headstones in Elmwood and going, oh my, can we clean this one or can we do that one? And I have to tell you that I'm sorry, I've got to focus on the veterans. That's my background. That's what my drive is where I have to work. But they're if we can set up if there's another, I think that you had somebody in the past, a group of people doing Smith Ferry. Maybe we can work with them to pull them into doing other work at the other cemeteries. Yeah. I know that there was a public cemetery at Smith Ferries, but if there's a idea for volunteers, I've actually got community services from the court system working with me now to get volunteers out there.
That's great. Yeah, Holyoke Preservation Trust and the Friends of Holyoke Cemeteries have done, usually it's an annual event that they do, or sometimes two in the fall. And they do one at Rock Valley and one at Smith Ferry. And I think Jean Jonker's the main contact for that. And it's always been great that people come out, they learn how to do it, they help. Wayne, one follow-up question. Do you have seniors using like the tax write-off program come and to be some of your volunteers?
Yes, I have out of the 14 people I have this year, I have there's two that I'm sharing with Wistariahurst. There's a couple more. I have 4 people total that will be getting hours.
That's great.
I have seniors from the senior center that are going to be working with me too. They had extra people with the number of people they had. They couldn't find positions for them, so that we're using them within the Veteran Services Department to get that work done too. So it'll be there's somewhere between with the 4 or 5 of us that are working and the other 2, we have about 500 to 600 hours of service between now and November to get done.
Outstanding. Michael?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Wayne, by definition, is the Elmwood Cemetery, is that a public cemetery? By definition?
That it is a public cemetery. It's not it's not controlled by the DPW. Smiths Ferry is a city cemetery. It's taken over by the city. Forestdale Association it's more of a private cemetery based on the chapter 115. It doesn't matter whether it's a Catholic cemetery controlled by the diocese or it's a private or a public cemetery. Under my purview as the graves officer, it's my job to ensure that every veteran's grave within the city of Holyoke is maintained, restored, or a plaque put down that keeping the veterans in our city.
Yeah, excuse me for interrupting. My point in asking is, the funding for FY25 is upon us, or will be upon us very shortly. And if you or anybody you know of the folks that you work with want to apply for more veterans to begin with, more veterans,
what this project with me, and that's why it's such a small project this year, or the $6,000 I requested was to get us set up and get us started. I have in my budget, or within the Veterans Service Department budget for next year, we'll have between $10,000 and $15,000 to continue the project.
Good.
This was to get us going and do it within a timely time frame, get started. Once I found out that what my job was when I was appointed as the Veterans Graves Officer was what.
Oh, God.
Technical difficulties today.
It's not me. Is it me?
No, you're good. Well, I hate to cut off Wayne like that. But perhaps just moving forward, we could, I don't know if we want as a committee to take a vote to sort of accept the parameters of those the sign discussion we just had. I don't know if it's technically necessary, frankly, but
Could you repeat them, Mr. Chairman?
Essentially that Wayne will have a plaque displayed at the headquarters of the cemetery, and that he will have a banner available displayed while doing the work.
Yeah, so moved.
Could I get a second on that? Chris, thank you. And I'll just call the roll on that just to enshrine that. Like I said, I'm not sure that we need to, but we may as well. Michael?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Maribel?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So we'll move that along, and we thank Wayne for coming in, and he's making some good progress, and we enjoy his work, and Meg did a great job for us, getting a little attention for Wayne's project. I like to see folks like he recognized for his good work, because he's not doing it for recognition at all, but I think that's all the more why we should make sure he's recognized. So I think if the committee's good, we can move back in order to agenda item number 4, which is a discussion about the quarterly reports. So I think the basic thought behind this is that we have new disbursement forms, which essentially anytime somebody wants to get paid, they have to fill out this form and give us some information. And with that disbursement form, I felt that the quarterly reports may be now redundant. Essentially, it's the same information. So they're filling out these disbursement forms whenever they need to get money. And then every 3 months, they're filling out a report, which gives us essentially the same information. So, digging into this, I spoke with Meg, I spoke with Amy, I reached out to Stuart Saganor from the state coalition for some guidance on it. And we're not required to do it. Some CPA committees do, and some don't. so that was kind of the thought on it. And I just wanted to have a discussion with the committee and see how we felt about potentially removing that as a requirement for our partners. And just kind of have a good talk about it. Does anybody have any thoughts? Michael?
Mr. Chairman, in other words, it'll make your life better and make Amy's life better and less time consuming, for basically a duplication of effort. It'll be one layer of reading and doing all that kind of book work will be eliminated because it's contained in the reports that we have now. So yeah, if it's good for you guys and it's good for the committee, and it'll make life easier for you, Mr. Chairman, and for Amy, if you're in agreement with that.
I felt good about it, and I think our partners will feel the same way. I think for them it was I was thinking originally more of somebody like Tom Reynolds or somebody like Megan Seiler or somebody like Yoni, who have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 projects with us, and they're filling out a quarterly report for every one of those projects, and they're filling out a disbursement form for every one of those projects, and they're busy, overworked city department head. So I think we're just trying to be kind of mindful of them, and then also correct of Amy as well, because it's she's having to follow up with people, make sure you're submitting your reports, and people aren't submitting them on time, and it's just kind of a thing. So I just want to acknowledge Chris. I think had his hand raised, and then Amy, I see you as well. Chris?
So this is just strictly for the applicant, just financial paperwork that will eventually go to Amy. I just want to make sure I understand it.
Well, the disbursement form, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amy, do you want to talk about that in
Sure.
your?
Yeah, so it's just when they have an invoice and they need to, request payment. I created a form where they explain, what they're requesting. They attach the invoice, a few questions so I can make sure that I'm on the same page with them and I know how much I have remaining in their award. They, and it's correct. So yeah, so that's what it is. And it makes it like more efficient instead of a lot of back and forth emails to just have the form. And within that form, the only thing is there, as I talked to Jay about, I think that we should add one question that just asks what percentage of the project has been completed, because that way we, the quarterly form did have more narrative type questions, and this is more like financial. So just adding that one question, which really doesn't take that much time, would also be a good way for us to keep on top of all these different projects.
Yeah. It's sort of just a cleaner process overall, I think. And it still allows us the same, we're still keeping our partners accountable. We're still.
The end result is still the same.
I'm sorry?
The end result will still be the same. We will
Correct.
still have
In large part. I mean, it's just, it's the same thing in a different box, essentially, I would say. And I think in large part, I mean, there are some changes, but I think like I said, I think that the folks that we're working with will appreciate it as well. Were there any other comments? Meg, did you have your hand raised or no? All righty.
Oh,
Amy?
But Amy's hand is still raised. Amy.
Is that okay? Just a quick thing. I forgot to mention that there is still a final report requirement. So, there's still that report that's more a place for photos and, more information.
And I'll just say also as the chair, like if somebody's slacking, I'm going to be on top of them and I'll let you guys know. You know what I mean? A lot of these folks have good communication. There's some that we're keeping an eye on, and if we feel like they're not being respectful of the process, we'll take care of that, and I'll keep folks posted. Mary?
Is there anywhere, is it written like in last year's contracts or something that they will do quarterly reports? And if that's the case, how do we when does this begin?
It's a great comment.
I can answer that. If you
go ahead, Amy. Yep, please.
It doesn't say that they're required. It says that the committee can require, may require them.
Okay.
So it still leaves it open.
Okay. And then when does this begin? Now?
Potentially, if we feel good about it.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous about the contract terms, frankly, but I think, if we feel good about moving forward, entertain a motion to remove the requirement of the quarterly reports.
So moved.
Um,
Amy?
I just have a quick question. 'Cause I mean, I'm a little confused because I think it might be a good idea to leave the thing that says that the committee may require, because you never know if you may have a project where you're really not getting any information, and just leaving it in there gives the committee that option. So,
Well, I think it remains in the contracts, right?
right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm
Yeah.
clarifying
I think it's a
that the
matter of
remaining contracts would still have that phrase with the word may.
okay. Oh, so you're saying moving forward, you'd like to allow us the wiggle room. I think that's a good discussion to have as we, as we go forward next year for sure. For sure. And in
And-
our new contracts too, Amy, as well, that we're working. I agree completely. Mary?
So if all those people that have been doing this quarterly report right along,
Hmm.
do they also do the disbursement report? Oh, so they do both. Oh, okay.
That's
Right.
what we're saying, yeah.
Right.
And
right.
they'll have to do that until the end of this year, this fiscal year, or do we somehow get the word out to them that they don't have to do?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Disbursement form will continue, but I'll reach out, or Amy will reach out to all of our folks with active projects and let them know. I think they'll be pleased to hear the news. So it'll be good news to deliver. I think they'll be happy because it's just like I said, the city departments that have 4 and 5 projects going on, it's just, it's a lot for them. It's a lot. They have a lot of responsibility and a lot on their plate. So I think it's a way that we can be a little bit more user friendly while not losing any accountability. And I think that's why I was thinking it might be a good motion for us. So
Okay, so then I move to authorize Amy and Jay to tell the current recipients of funds that they do not have to continue quarterly reports as long as they do their disbursement reports through to the end of this fiscal year.
I would
Period.
I think that's perfect. Perhaps we could just remove the end of the fiscal year part and just really in perpetuity.
But what if we change our mind again?
Well,
All right, fine, just take it off. That's fine, I'll take it off. No problem.
Yeah, is there a second on that?
I second it.
All righty. So I'm going to call the roll on a vote for here. Michael,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes,
Meg,
Yes.
Maribel,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
All right. So we'll work on that. Outstanding. The next discussion, Amy, would you mind sharing that thing that I sent you from the office?
Oh,
Campaign
okay, yeah, I
and
think
Finance? It's a link you have to click on, and then
Yeah.
you have to click on a second link once you click on
I
it.
thought I had it open, but I have to
Okay.
look now just to see where I had it.
So just to narrate it, it's with the ballot question coming up, I wanted to try to offer the committee some parameters of where it was appropriate for us to operate. I didn't want us to cross any lines, get ourselves in any trouble, get myself called in front of the city council. And so I reached out to the state coalition for some guidance, and I reached out to the Office of Campaign and Political Finance for some guidance. And this is from the Office of Campaign and Political Finance website. And I thought it was the most appropriate piece of information. So just to be clear, I'm not giving any advice. I'm not telling anyone what they can and can't do, but this is what the Office of Campaign and Political Finance says about the issue. The summary really: public employees may not solicit or receive funds for any political purpose. The question of whether or not we're public employees, I don't think that we are, but I
yeah,
don't.
we
think-
are.
You are.
We are all regarded as public employees.
Right. So, we may, as committee members, tread very lightly relating to any political fundraising stuff. I would say that that's pretty clear. The thing really that's most relevant here is point 3: public resources may not be used for political purpose. So like, I really consider our committee is a public resource. The money that we have in our administrative account is a public resource. That's what we're doing. We're administering public resources. So for our committee to be involved in any way in the ballot question would be inappropriate, in my opinion. I think, our focus related to the ballot question is just to, and this is all in my opinion, to provide information if anyone has questions, to be available for folks that want clarity. It's a confusing thing, but I don't believe we should be out, we're not out promoting yes or no on ballot question, whatever it turns out to be. The committee is here to do the work of the committee. We're here to promote the CPA. We're here to administer the grant. We should do so with transparency and openness. And, we can leave the campaigning to others, essentially. If we as individual people, you're not prevented from being involved, holding signs and things of that nature. But as a committee in our official capacity, I don't believe we should be involving ourselves. I think it's something we really want to keep a good clean distance from the line. I think this committee does great work. I think the thing that we're best at is, we're very open and transparent in our dealings. So that's just the general thought. Did anybody have any questions or comments related to that? Concerns? Michael?
Well, Mr. Chairman and my fellow committee members, Jay, the very helpful email that you sent me regarding other communities.
Amy, you're still screen sharing. Can you unscreen share us? I'm sorry. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Sure.
If you recall, Jay, you had sent me a very interesting and very helpful email in those regards.
Yes.
And a couple of them were very helpful in the sense that it showed how other cities, and you guys, if you could share, if you could send that to the rest of the committee members to look it up themselves. It showed like various cities that broadcast to the whole community, their list of accomplishments, all the money they brought in. Were they politicking or they were advocating for this or that? Yeah, they were, but they weren't saying anything that wasn't true. They were saying, oh, by the way, we restored the stained glass windows. We restored the horses, the works in the cemetery, all the other many projects, and how much money, in addition to that, how much money we brought in. Other communities have done that, but they did it in such a way as to make it look like, hey, folks, we just want to let the people of Holyoke know that this is what we've done, and list everything there. We're not really going one way or the other. We're just telling the whole world what our accomplishments are and what we've achieved, and because other communities have done this. So if we can just guide ourselves like they did, I can work with somebody. Megan, you put a beautiful letter last year, I think it was, and I think you showed all the work that we did and how much money it was brought in. Just that alone, just putting that out on their Facebook or on not just our account or whatever you call our site, but putting it on Facebook for the city of Holyoke and all the various Holyoke committee sites. Say, look, this is what we've done, and this is what we intend to do, and this is what we want to keep on doing. Yep. Leave it at that.
I agree. I think that's the plan.
That's mine, but you guys think whatever you guys want to do, it's up to you.
That's exactly how I feel on the topic, Michael. We're here to promote the good work that's being done. And, I also like to think that we're promoting our city in a positive light as well. I'd like to see Holyoke well represented, and some of our projects are cool and they're historic and they're popular, and I'd like to put a light on them and have people read an article and say, oh, look at the cool stuff Holyoke's doing. You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing. We're independent of the ballot question, essentially. Like our work is going to be, that type of stuff, Michael, too. I think we'll move forward after the ballot question is completed. We'll do that next year and the year after and the year after that, and that's what we should be doing, and that's in our mandate. So I just thought, I know it had been a concern, and it was a concern of mine. And, again, just to go back, we're all unpaid volunteers here. Not everybody's an expert on this subject. You know what I mean? It's complicated. So I just wanted to offer a little bit of information on it. If anyone wants that Office of Campaign and Political Finance link, I can send that over just for your review. Like I said, just to be clear, I'm not giving advice or anything or saying you can and can't do anything. That's just the the guidance that I would offer the committee. And I don't think we really need a vote on that to move forward, but if anybody else had any questions or comments, let me know, or otherwise we can move forward. Everybody feel comfortable with that? Wonderful. All right, our next, sorry. We're back to the sign discussions. So, couple of things with the signs I just wanted to update us on is just a couple of updates and a couple of discussions. So 6A, the Korean Conflict Memorial is one of, what do we have? There's two, it was just Lady Liberty and the Korean Memorial that the CPA has done in Veterans Park. Is that correct? Two projects. So, you know, we weren't sure what we wanted to do or what we should do for a sign there. It's very small. We already have done some work in the park. You know, I'm not sure how the committee feels about it. If we want to sort of not require a sign for that project this time, if we want to do something different, if we want to try a little sign. I just wanted to allow us to have a discussion about it and see if we could come to some agreement. Does anybody have any thoughts? Michael?
Yes, talk about beating a dead horse. Mr. Chairman, I haven't changed my mind. The Korean War Memorial stands alone by itself. Right across the walkway are the Vietnam Memorial monuments. They don't have signs. Now all of a sudden we're gonna have a little sign on this little monument. It doesn't fit right. It doesn't fit well. I don't like signs on cemeteries. I don't like signs on memorials, and I don't like signs on plaques. Yes, I'd like to have a sign there when the work was being done, but when the work is done, remove it. And if you want to, put it into the, I don't know, the War Memorial Building as a plaque honoring that we've done permanently, a permanent plaque highlighting the work we did with the Korean Memorial and also the Lady Liberty. But no, I'm not, as you said, some things are sacred. Some things are there to honor the men and women who gave up their life in defense of their country. We shouldn't be distracting from that. And I feel the sign is a distraction, and it's rather crass and undignified, if you ask me. But no, I'm not for a sign. Yes, a sign when the work is being done on the memorials or the plaques or the monuments, yes. But as soon as the sign is done, remove it and put it in the War Memorial Building. This is work done by the CPA for the Korean War Memorial, any other memorial, any other plaque. Put it in the building where it resides, where the organization resides. Don't put it on the thing itself. It belittles and it's undignified, and I don't like it whatsoever.
Thank you. Anybody else have any thoughts on that one? Amy?
Yeah, I totally hear what Mike is saying, but I was thinking just about the vet graves and how Wayne handled it. And I don't know if there's any way, there's no office for the vet park, Veterans Park, but I was just thinking that the great thing about doing this, if there is a way to do it in a respectful way, is that there may be other people who say, hey, I didn't know that CPA rehabilitates veterans' graves and does this kind of work. I know of a place that, you know, needs this also, or maybe another veteran resource of some kind. So it's not just like about giving credit to the committee. It's also about, you know, spreading the word so that other people can seek funds. So
No,
if there's a way to do it. You know?
Wait a minute, Amy, are you a member of this committee? Are you or aren't you? Are you a voting member on this committee?
No, I never maintained that I was.
Right. So it's the opinion of the committee members. That's what I wanted to stick with. It's the people that are on this committee. And that's what I want to hear from. And Amy, it's good to hear, and you're as an administrator, fine, you did good work. But on this particular process, this policy question is for the people on the committee to decide and discuss.
Thank you, Mike.
Again, I don't know if people go to cemeteries and go to monuments looking to see who did the work. I've never heard that before. I've never been to a cemetery where it had a sign. Well, this lawn was cut by Jay's Lawn Service. Give him your business, guys. He does a hell of a job. Has anybody ever seen a sign on a cemetery or a sign on a memorial or anything like this? There is none. It belittles the dignity of the memorial. We're there to honor the people who gave up their lives. There's the War Memorial Building, which we have. Anything we can do with a sign, we put it on the War Memorial Building with a picture of the work done. You put it there. And people that go to the War
Michael,
Memorial Building can do that.
I would entertain a motion if the committee would be in agreement to waive the sign requirement for the Korean War Memorial.
So moved.
Is there a second? There is no second. So I suppose we'll move this issue forward to a future meeting. I think, you know, Michael, I'll just say for the record, you know, I don't disagree. I'd like to find a way to respectfully address this situation. And I think the most likely scenario to me is probably not to have a sign. So, but we'll perhaps we can discuss it further as a committee, because we are down to just the bare minimum for a quorum now. We don't have Meg. And a couple of our other members reached out to me, our new member Lauren, and also Helene, that they weren't able to make it. So, you know, we don't need to come to a resolution on everything tonight. And I know that this issue is important, and I think that's why I wanted to bring it up on our first meeting. Mary, I saw you had a hand raised.
Well, again, it's really not that important. I understand Michael's point of view, but I also thought Amy's words were valuable. So you know, and I think we should take it up at another time.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, and I do apologize. You know, I do like to hear Amy's perspective as well. So, and I do get Michael's point though, that, you know, the committee members are the ones that are empowered and responsible and need to be, you know, need to be heard. So, I think we can just, I don't think we need to take a vote. We can just move forward on that one. To our next issue would be 6B, the City Hall stained glass windows. So it's a little bit of a weird one, I'll say. We've given a fair amount of grants to this project, and a sign was paid for, a sign was installed, and just the sign was then taken down. And I'm not really completely sure what happened or why. I guess there were some folks that felt it was not the type of sign that they wanted, or the location of sign that they wanted. So I've invited those folks to our next meeting to discuss it, because you know, it's a lot of money that we've given. It's a great project. It's a very popular room, and I want our sign up. You know, I'm very malleable with the signs on the veterans' graves, but this type of thing, I want our sign up. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to get into it too much and cause any distractions, but it was kind of a weird one, and I don't know why our sign was taken down, but I was able to, thankfully, our historical commission chairperson, Chris, was able to retrieve the sign for us and secure it. So we have the sign. And the reason I wanted to kind of discuss it more with the committee is what I'd like to do is write a letter to the mayor's office and just request that they put our sign up. He's inclined to do so, I think. And then invite the Friends of City Hall into our September meeting to discuss their concerns with the sign and see if we can come to a resolution on it. Chris, I think you had your hand up.
I just don't, I guess I'm just not understanding why they need to be involved if it's actually in City Hall. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess the commission would be where the placement would be, rather than the Friends, you know, taking the sign down. That's where I have an issue, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair concern too, because our contract is with the DPW. So you know, we have a contract, the CPA and the DPW have a contract related to signage, and then the Friends of City Hall have sort of inserted themselves in that. I think, you know, the way I looked at it was that the Friends have raised some money for this project, some significant money for this project. and that they've stewarded this project, and that out of deference for that commitment, I've welcomed them to come to our committee and have a discussion about it. Whether we listen to them or not is up to the committee. I don't think we're obligated in any way to do anything that they suggest. I think I don't want to use the word courtesy, but we're going to invite them in, and if we can come to an easy resolution, I think that's great. And if not, then I think we're empowered to just move forward with our contract partner on that. So that was kind of the thinking on it. It's like I said, kind of a strange one, and I don't want to get hung up on signage too much, but I think it's something I'd like to resolve, and I think we can next meeting. So I think I was just really looking for the support of the committee. I was going to send a letter to the mayor's office and the DPW contact just to have them put our sign back up, and then like I said, they can come in. You want to figure out something else with signs, then come talk to us. That was my thought. Would the committee just generally be supportive of that? I don't know if we need to take a vote. Is anybody concerned about that? I think it's a good.
I think
Oh,
your
Chris,
solution is excellent.
Okay, Chris, go ahead. And Chris, just to say, Chris, as the historical chair, is more aware of some of the stuff going on, because his committee has some oversight. And I think, Chris, perhaps if not now, definitely next meeting, you may want to talk about your thoughts on how the historical commission should have some say on this issue, because my thought is actually, our contract is between us and the DPW, but the historical commission really would have oversight of some change on a historical building like City Hall. So I think we may invite them in to the conversation to make sure things are done, historically appropriately and with respect and full deference to our beautiful, stunningly beautiful City Hall. Chris, did you want to talk a little bit about it at all, or?
I just want to very, very briefly, I rescued the plaque. Actually, it is in the mayor's office, and we have also notified the DPW already of the situation where the plaque went. So I mean, that's already been happening. So
yeah, we appreciate that. And so I was gonna write the letter last week, and I said, well, we're meeting in a week. Let me just make sure the committee's cool with that one, and then I'll send it out. So I'll write that tonight or tomorrow, and I'll send that out, and I'll keep us posted. So I did invite the friends to our September meeting, and they have accepted. So we can have a good discussion about it then. Is there any other thoughts or concerns on that topic?
No.
Chris, thank you so much, and I'll keep you looped in. And Joe Charles is with us as well. He's an active member of the historical commission. So I've talked to Joe about it as well, and we'd like to keep we appreciate the good work that the historical commission does. So I think we really want to keep them involved in our processes. And I think that Chris will agree, it'll make things easier in the future. If we have good communication now, it saves us 400 emails in the future. So we appreciate it. So another thing, just 6D, we can just skim over this one. It's just, I just want folks to be thoughtful on this one as we move forward, is that we're having, as the CPA gets more established, we're starting to see locations that have received grants that have already put up a sign now coming back from another grant. And what are we going to do? Are we, I'm weary of our partners' locations looking like a NASCAR vehicle. You know what I mean? With CPA you know what I mean? It's like, how much do we need? So I just wanted to kind of bring it up as something that's on my mind, that I'm thoughtful of. How might we handle that moving forward? I think Mary's point that each instance is different, I think, is really a strong point. And that may be the case here as well. But I just wanted to bring it up as something that maybe the committee could think about. And, if you got a thought on it, shoot me an email, or, we can bring it up in a committee meeting. But I just want to, I like to just similar to the veterans' graves and cemeteries discussion, is we want to do what's right and be thoughtful, and not, we don't need to be so front and center all the time. So, that was why I just wanted to throw that on the agenda so we could talk about it. Number 7, the contract updates. Amy, do you want to talk about it all? Or you want me to just kind of go over it quickly for folks?
Whatever you prefer, but I mean, I can just, I can quickly just say that I've drafted 5 out of the 8 contracts, and they've been executed. So it's, I think we're in pretty good shape. I mean, there's 3 more that need to be done, the 2 housing projects and the granite stairs and pillars contract.
Yes. The projects that were really that seemed more pressing for the money, you know, the smaller folks that were getting their projects going, were the ones that we were able to get done first. So the bigger community housing projects that we did last year, as well as the granite stairs project, is the one that remains. So we're just hoping to have that buttoned up by the end of like next week, Amy. We're thinking something like that. It's a lot for Amy. Amy's got to write all these unique scope of work and things of that nature. So we're moving forward and we're in contact with them. But like she said, all the other contracts have been executed, signed by myself, the mayor, all of that. So we're moving forward, I think, in a good direction. And Amy, I appreciate your good work on that. I know it can be tedious, and I'm sure my confusion throughout that early process didn't help things, but I appreciate your good work. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Did anyone have any questions about that, concerns? Just a general update. You know what I mean? We're moving it forward. Hopefully next meeting will, you know, I'm very confident next meeting we'll have everything will be executed and we'll be on to it. So point 8, just a general discussion about how we're promoting CPA. This is another thing. I just wanted folks to be thoughtful about ways we can get the word out more about our committee, just the work that's being done, the projects that are being done, you know, promoting to potential applicants. I think we want to see more applicants getting involved in the CPA. And I think we want to make sure we're being responsible and making sure that information is available to everybody. So one of the things that we did to that end is I wrote a press release this week. Amy, with her, was able to review that for us, Meg as well. In the mayor's office, Nilka, I'm not sure if anyone knows Nilka, she translated it for us. So we have in English and Spanish. And then the mayor's office sent that out as a press release. All it says is that the Holyoke Community Preservation Committee has opened up their FY25 grant cycle. And just with a very brief description of what the CPA is and some information about how to get a hold of Amy if you're interested in applying. So it's just a way to attract potential applicants and get the word out. But you know, I just wanted to bring it up as a point on the agenda for the committee members to try to be thoughtful of, and how we might, like I said, do better. I think the committee does great work as it is, but just ways that we can improve. Any questions or comments on that one? All right, we're flying through here. So number 9, I'll go through real quick. Pulaski Park study. They're doing that tomorrow, Amy, is that right? We got an email this week. The 15th, I believe.
I don't remember, but I know it's happening.
Yeah. So that had been held up. There was the first study we got was like, I don't want to say mailed in, but it wasn't a high quality study. So the engineering firm circled back and told us that one of the problems was there's a clogged drain that they needed to get into. The drain needed to be cleared out. The drain was cleared out.
I think that the issue last time was about getting video footage, and I think that they're able to do that now. But I have to go back and look at the email, but that's.
Yeah, I believe it was in the drain was part of the issue too. Like they needed to video in scope it, but it was backed up with stuff. So Victoria is the interim city engineer, I believe, Victoria Hool.
Right.
And she's been really great for us. She's helped move that project along. She picked up the football, and she's been very responsive, and she's moved that along well. So we're hopeful we'll have some conclusion to that very soon, and I can report back to the committee hopefully next meeting. I mean, they're supposed to do it tomorrow. So but we've heard that a few times. Like, it's scheduled for this day. Oh, this happened. Oh, it's scheduled for this day. Oh, this happened. So we'll see if it makes it through, but I'll keep everyone posted. The fire truck restoration, I spoke with Tom Shea. One of the folks that's doing the work had injured their hand, I believe, and so that delayed them a little bit. Tom is just gonna keep me updated on their progress for that project. But that's the fire truck. Overview of meetings I've held. Like I said, I met with Megan. I met with Tom Reynolds. I spoke with Yoni at a road race. I spoke with personnel. I've spoken with the auditor. I've spoken with the purchasing department. I've spoken with the mayor's office, a couple of city councilors. So just and then Chris and I had a great meeting as well. Chris as our historical chair. So I'm just trying to kind of get out and represent our committee well and make friends in the city government, because the folks in city government are incredibly important to what we do. And if they're, if we can be accommodating to them and understanding of the challenges they face, then we'll have a much easier time executing our work. So event banners and pamphlet. So I have banners have been ordered and are ready, temporary banners for our new applicants. We had no banners left over. Some of them faded away. So we have banners, and we have, there's an event this Saturday. It is not a CPA event. We're not sponsoring it all. It's two of our partners are though. And they've sort of looped us in just in like I said, I think I've emailed everyone about it, just in the spirit of promoting the CPA as is in our contract. But that's a nice little movie event that's going to be at Kennedy Park, the Miracle League. I'll be there with my kids as long as they're behaving. I think Chris is going to try to get there. Maribel, Meg will be there. Helene reached out; she'll be there, and everybody's welcome. There's not going to be honestly a lot of work to be done. I think it's just a nice community event, and we're going to get over there. Hopefully, we get some nice weather, and that's the plan for that. Application timeline. So Amy, we've opened up the what do we call it? The eligibility form from August 15th through September 15th. I think we made a couple of changes because September 15th is a Sunday. Is that right? I think
so I said September 16th. But, because obviously I'm not going to be collecting them on Sunday. So
and technically the forms are up there. Is that, are they posted?
Yeah, they're on the website. The form is on the website. And it's also on the CPAC website. It's on the Facebook page. You did the press release, and I'm just realizing I think I should contact Nilka to put it on the city website if she can do that. So yeah,
that's a great idea. Yes. So that's the update with the application timeline. And then did anybody have any questions or concerns on any of that updates from the chair section? I'm just going to try to keep everybody posted. I'll tell you, there's probably 750 emails I've gotten in the last couple of weeks. So, I'm going to try to always, keep everybody updated, but without inundating you with an incredible amount of information. Michael?
Pardon me, committee members, your patience, and Mr. Chairman, can you tell me when I was offline, whatever became of the Wistariahurst Museum proposal?
Yes, sir. What we ended up doing is we took a vote, and I apologize. We did wish we could wait for you. We took a vote to expand the scope of work to include those items. So it's not a financial change. It's essentially Megan's. Megan does have remaining funds, and we've allowed her, pending city council approval, to move forward with that. That was how that worked out.
Beautiful.
Yes. I think that's a good plan, and I hope we can get that through the council, and we'll see. But and then just the last thing, I'm so sorry, 7:50. I was hoping we'd be done much earlier, but it's still technically under the 2 hours. Is the other section, and I just wanted to give Mary an opportunity. Mary, I'm so deeply sorry for pushing.
No, that's okay. No big deal. Okay, so at our last, so on May 15th, we approved with a motion how some things that would be included in contracts, and And, you know, when you make a motion, that's something that you as a committee are agreeing to abide by. If you want to change that, you have to make a motion to revisit it. And then you have to make a new motion and vote on that. So I'm not sure what our intention was last meeting. We had a set of rules from May 15th, you know, that established, you know, with a motion, some of the details from contracts. And as long as those are okay, and those were what was put into the contracts this time, I guess there's no big deal. But if we had wanted to change those, we didn't follow the process and we didn't vote on any changes. There was no motion made. So I don't know what the, you know, committee thinks. You know, if you want to, you know, make changes to that, then you need to go through the whole big deal, and then you had to have a discussion, and, you know, whatever, you should do that. But at any rate, the May 15th rules were what we had agreed to in the contracts.
Yes,
If that
Mary.
would go into the contracts.
And Chris, I saw that you had your hands up. Hannah, I apologize. Mary, could I make just a suggestion that perhaps we could send those terms to the committee, which I probably should have done ahead of time, because it's just a little bit of a detailed thing that they may want to review, and then we can take it up at the top. I'll actually throw it on the agenda of our next meeting, and we can have like a, you know, a little bit more thoughtful discussion, because I fear that we may rush through it.
Yeah, and this would,
you're
it
right.
would be,
Yeah, I think you're correct in your assessment too. So I just want to make sure that we're just doing it correctly. If that's all right.
fine.
Chris,
Yeah,
you have
that's
your hand
fine.
up? Thank you, Mary.
I will be very quick. I just know that the Historical Commission will need in the future an architect, as we do not have Tyler Kane anymore.
Yes.
I don't know if that's something you wanted me to maybe pursue, or is that, I know we've always had him, so not sure how that works.
Yeah, so Chris is talking about the Tyler reports. He's the one who does the, are folks familiar with that? Does the, like the
Historical
review.
Commission, yeah.
Yes, so he's not available anymore, so we're gonna need to find somebody. We're gonna need to find somebody, so we're gonna have to talk about that. Michael?
I'm not following you here. Did this committee needs to hire an architect? Is that what you're saying?
No, in the past, we've had the Tyler reports who reviews the historical properties.
The city historical properties.
Yeah, well,
The non-city, I believe, right? Is that, but I think the committee actually voted to have
No.
Tyler reports for all.
No, he reviewed all of them,
All of
because
them.
the city was the one that was giving us the hardest time about them. So he reviewed all of them, and we did pay at least a portion of it. I'm sure Amy would have the record of that. And that's the man, Michael, that goes to that first hearing with the Historic Commission and listens to the projects that are there for, you know, they want to have some restoration. He's an expert on what is usually allowed under the
Historic
state and
standards.
federal historic rules. So we've had that for the last 2 years.
No, that's fine, but why are we paying for it? I'm
We have paid a portion of it in the past.
why?
That's a fair question. I mean, you know, I don't know.
I
the
can
committee.
answer that.
Amy, please.
Well, actually, it was Meg who was very instrumental in working with, I think, Chris's predecessor on this, or maybe it was with you, Chris, because it was actually a way to help the committee, because we need to make sure that, you know, the projects, the scope of work that they lay out in their planning documents really are aligned with the Department of the Interior Historic Standards. And none of us are, you know, professionals in that area. So that's why it was advanced to do this. And actually, I've met with other CPA communities, and they've thought that it's a very good idea to do.
Again, I'll make a suggestion. I hate to keep doing it, but I think it's a discussion we need to give some time to and not force in at the end of a meeting. I think I'd love, if it's all right with the committee, to add it to our September agenda item. Because I think, Michael, your question's right. Like, I have the same thought. Like, why, you know, why us? Like, why, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to know why a little bit, understand it. Not that I disagree with the process or think we shouldn't move forward, but I'd like to understand it a little bit better. And then I think we also need to, you know, think about wrapping it up quickly at our next meeting though, because we're going to need to find somebody. And I think Chris and I can maybe have a conversation about that. In the next meeting, I'll put it on the agenda item. I'll do a little bit of digging as well, and can communicate with the committee about that. And then we can hopefully have a more informed discussion about it in September, if that's comfortable with everybody.
No, that's fine, but Mr. Chairman, we are not engineers, as everybody pointed out. So why is it incumbent upon us to fund an engineer for a project?
Yeah.
Why did the wind company come? Why don't we hire engineers for the wind company or for any other company that says, oh, well, you're going to pay his engineer. Why don't you pay my engineer?
Well, because I think the answer to that, Michael, comes with the fact that the applicants are generally not as wealthy as the wind company. For example, on the City Hall stairs, the City Hall is certainly not going to pay for the opinion of an architect adjunct to what they are going to have to pay for repairing the stairs. And if it's going to go through City Hall, because we are not engineers, someone needs to endorse whether it's a good idea or not.
I agree with it, but why doesn't the DPW take it out of their budget?
I think like I said, I think it's a great conversation to have, but I think we should have it at the next meeting. And I think it'd be better as well just to have Meg's experience involved as well. If it's all right with the committee. I think one last, I'm gonna slip in one last piece of information that I actually received in the middle of this meeting, is that our member Francesca has resigned from the committee. So we will now have an opening on the committee, and we'll once again, in a theme of today, is that we'll have to talk about that at our next meeting. So two things I want to do before is set our next meeting, and then take a vote to adjourn and try to get it out of here under 8 o'clock. That was my goal. My goal really was an hour and a half, but so September 11th is the second Wednesday of September. Is that sound like I think we should just set that meeting, and then frankly, I'd like to always keep it at the second Wednesday, and unless there's an extreme situation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be out of town. I may not be here that day. I may, but I may not be here. So just to let you folks know, I'll try to make it. But if it's so impossible that the 11th is the only alternative that you all can make, keep it, so be it. I won't be there, but I'll be out of town. I'll try to make it back in time, but I just want to let you know, that's all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so yeah, if we want, we can set it for that day tentatively, and if I hear from other members that that's difficult, then we can try to change that. With that, thank you all for your patience. I hope I didn't ramble too much tonight. I'm prone to that, so feel free.
Okay, I'm moved to adjourn at 7:59.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Well done, Mary.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everybody. Chris, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Night,
Good
everyone.
night, everyone. Good
Appreciate
night.
y'all. Thank you.